the motivated students said that Google Classroom was challenging, and some people or some students say that this helpful and fun, and they feel motivated with the Google Classroom. This condition or this result is in line with the result by Harvard and Tesorerio, who said that the study would lead a more effective teaching style that align educational goal and criteria with desired student impression. So basically, the student have the positive impression, especially for the using of Google Classroom for teaching. And the second one, the student personal opinion on the Google Classroom. They have various opinion, like they say that the Google Classroom is a good platform with the complete facilities, and they feel that this is easy to use, and then saving the data compared with another platform. And not only the positive response one, but the student who live far away or in the remote area, they said that the bad internet connection make the classroom is not easy for use of by them. And the next is about the performance because of this still new platform, and then the teacher should get accustomed to use the Google Classroom at the first time the teacher use. Sometimes some students say that the teacher are not competent enough for using it. According to Arjanto, AS, and Sumani in 2019, which asserted that the most students amounting to 56 until 8% agree that reaching the factor of usefulness, this Google Classroom is useful. So the result of this research is in line with the previous research. And the effectiveness on the utilization of Google Classroom in learning process, there are three main points based on the finding. The first, effective as long as both of the lecturer and also the student follow the procedure well. And then the second one, Google Classroom is more effective than the other application like using of WhatsApp. And then the last one, the effective due to bad of internet connection. So this is the weakness of the using of Google Classroom. And according to Alim et al., also mentioned that Google Classroom is very useful in improving student abilities and skill of the students. Students can learn by themselves through guidance. So this based on the previous research say that this will be effective when the teacher use the Google Classroom for teaching, as long as both of the teacher and student can cooperate using the facilities in Google Classroom. And then the next, what should the lecturer do in improving the performance using Google Classroom? Some students suggest lecturers should be more creative, and some of them also said that lecturers should be balanced in giving the material and the tasks. But because of based on the experience, when the student studied by using the Google Classroom, the teacher only use like some of the lecturers use it only for checking the attendance and also give the tasks, but they don't use the suitable material for the student to study. And then the lecturer should give video and increase the ability and ICT. So this is one of the the solution given by the students in order to make the Google Classroom process more interactive and also more attractive. So not only giving the material only use some doc, but the students also suggest the lecturer to make the video, their own video of learning process, and for doing so that the lecturers should increase their ability in ICT. So the previous research, Severance, I and M et al., the response strongly agreed that term useful of Google Classroom, the feedback provided by the lecturer is very useful. So based on the previous research, since the feedback given by the lecturer in Google Classroom is very useful, that's why the attractive and also interactive process for communication for teaching is very important, so the student can understand well. So the attractive video and attractive, and also the direct the direct comment or a direct feedback given by the lecturer is so important. So the facilities the classroom facilities and also the tasks given by the Google Classroom can provide how to give the direct feedback for the students. So the lecturer can use it as long as the lecturer understand well how to use the Google Classroom. So this brings the advantage and also disadvantages of the utilization of Google Classroom, since this is easy to use, can use for interactional teaching process, and the last, the quiz and the tasks are recorded well. But not only the benefits, this also have the weaknesses, such as the connectivity for the remote area student will make the student are not easy to access the Google Classroom. Of course, because of the data used for the internet connection, so the student consume the internet data. So the conclusion, the student have various response of the use of Google Classroom as the application on online class in pandemic era. The first impression when the student use the Google Classroom, they felt confused because of the situation is different from the real class. It's still new, so the students should get accustomed to use it. And next, the student opinion on the platform Google Classroom is a good platform, but they need to have good internet connection to access it. And some students have problem on it. They also mentioned that this platform is effective for teaching as long as the teacher can maximize the function of Google Classroom. Well, thank you for the chance given.
Abang juga. Aja. Nanti Abang Ali tadi lakon.
Okay, Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you so much, Ibu Kristiana, for the presentation. Now we go to the next presenter, Bapak Suroto. Okay, let me check whether he's here or not. I don't think Pak Suroto is here, so maybe we should go to the next. Yeah, Pak Suroto is not here. Okay, we go to the next presenter. That is Ibu Eis Nurbanati. Are you here, Ibu? Yes,
Okay.
Bu Eis is here.
Okay, I'm here.
We'll present the use of mobile device in the school for learning and teaching system. I'll give you 10 minutes to present the presentation. Ibu, time is yours.
Thank you, moderator. Yes. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam. Ibu, I'm sorry, but I cannot see your PowerPoint. Okay, now I can see it.
You can see PowerPoint?
Okay. Yes, now I can see it.
Okay. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I would like to say thank you for joining in my presentation. It's great to see you all in Zoom, via Zoom. Let me introduce myself. My name is Eis Nurbanati. I'm from Lampung University. The purpose of my presentation is to resume the usefulness of the mobile device in the learning and teaching system. Look at that. My title, the article, The Use of Mobile Device, the School for Learning and Teaching System, is Nurbanati, Hasan Hariri, Rizwanti Rini, Sowiyah, and Eni Setiawati. Okay. The first, abstract. Purpose, tourism, that the usefulness of the mobile device in the learning teaching system area, research methodology, by using research and review method, process begin with a search engine, Google Scholar, and IEEE article with keyword. The result of the study largely saw a positive and significant effect between the use of mobile device in the school for learning and teaching system. Limitation, since the study includes many cases, further research could include performing such a case study on integration with the curriculum and management information system in a school. Okay, the first introduction. With respect to technologies, mobile generally means portable and personal, like a mobile phone. In some countries, the use of learning for students located in remote place is taken as an advantage from communication and for media content development. Mobile learning refers to the use of mobile learning device such as smartphone, personal digital assistant, tablet, PC, laptop, and portable computers. The purpose of the current study was to evaluate the efficiency on the integrating mobile technology in learning environment. This literature review configuration was how they use mobile technology facilitate education content for learning and teaching system. Third, research methodology. This literature focus on the use mobile device in the school for learning and teaching system. By use search and review method, the review process begin with a search engine, Google Scholar, and IEEE to search for article with keyword Android, mobile device, learning and teaching system. The criteria for inclusion in the study were as follow: quantitative result or relationship between the use mobile device and learning teaching system. The research was conducted in the world. The research use English language. Research and thesis are excluded. Okay. And then, yeah, okay. Research methodology. The first, identification, scanning, eligibility, and then including a total of 307 articles were retrieved from the literature search. There were 2,183 articles from search engine, 1,566 articles from IEEE, and 1,558 articles from Google Scholar, among 5,307 articles, 686 which include and 236 were identification based on the title and abstract review. A total of 40 articles were full review by the research expert for maybe 1,081 article without full text, among 236 article, among them 141 were not mobile learning. no Android, no learning and teaching system. A total of 12 articles were finally selected, and among them the follow diagram of the study selection system literature review process in shown in figure. Okay, next. So in table 1, this is literature review focus on the use mobile device in the school for learning and teaching system by using column for others, and then years, country, and then method of research and sample result. The use of mobile device, example, learning and teaching system. Result and discussion. Based on the finding from this literature review, found that in peer review journal has revealed that the overall effect of using mobile device in education is better than when using desktop computer or not using mobile device as an intervention. Research on the influence the use mobile device in the school for learning and teaching system has been carried out in various organizing and in various countries. By the use of mobile learning system provides target student with the opportunity to obtain any and all train related materials and information on their mobile device through a simple process. Features of communicating with partners and tutor and anting use mobile communication network technology. Finally, conclusion. In the world that is increasingly reliant on connectivity and access to information, mobile devices are revolutionary because they transcend the boundaries of the structural status of classroom and lecture halls and their associated mode of communication. In this mobile learning system requires reconciliation of the connecting among the component of technology, educational context, and missions. For example, learning and teaching process, or example, curriculum, and use, for example, teacher and student. Furthermore, most learning activities using mobile device has been controlled by the teacher, with there being only a handful and learning center project in existence. Considering the communication function, very few projects have made any use of cooperator or team communication. The last, limitation and study forward. Okay, since this study includes many cases, further research could include performing such a case study on integration with the curriculum and management information system in the school. The next step, I hope in our work is to add more interaction function and knowledge management tools into this system. We truly believe that mobile learning will be an ideal learning style to facilitate our learning. Okay. Thank you very much. Thank you for listening. Thank you very much. Great attention. Come back to moderator. Thank you, hatur nuhun. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you so much, Ibu Ais Nurbanati for the presentation. Now we come to the next presenter, that is Ho Zohan, who will present a comprehensive review of the methodological quality in MALL study. Okay, you have 10 minutes to present your presentation. Time is yours.
Okay, can you see my slides?
Yes, I can see your slide. Okay.
Okay. Hello, everyone. Welcome to my presentation about the methodological quality in more studies. Okay. So it's a review research proposed by me, AMA students, and Professor Wahid Ariadust from the National Institute of Education, Singapore. So at the beginning, we would like to share our understanding of mobile assisted language learning as a flexible, continuing, adaptive language learning process with easy access to language learning materials supported by mobile devices. And this is what it is. Then what can mobile devices do for language learning? So here we present examples from two categories of the popular smart usage of popular smartphone applications. One is content-based, another one is interaction-based, and you can see the example there, YouTube and Twitter. So it would suggest that mobile devices can help to lower down learners' cognitive load and increase their motivation and facilitating the process of receiving effective feedback and the construction of pedagogical connections with lessons for additional practice. So I think presently under the COVID-19 circumstances, both teachers, learners, and researchers all can further understand the affordance of more, or what can mobile devices do for our learning or language learning, right? So in the literature, researchers has been trying to synthesize the trend of more research. And here we made a list of several reviewed features, including firstly, the technologies or mobile devices used for language learning in research. And the second one is the aspect related to learning, for example, learning outcomes or learning environments, for example, like the construction of situational learning and the cooperative learning assisted by mobile devices. And the final one are several descriptive features related to methodology, such as the type of your research design or the data collection method and the duration of the experiment. So we found presently there is no review on the methodological quality of more research. By saying methodological quality, here we mean the adherence to standards of contextually appropriate methodological rigor in research practices, transparent and complete reporting of such practices. So we try to examine the statistical practices in the context of more research and the reporting of their statistical practices. So here come our research questions. Number one, what are the specific statistical techniques in more research for data analysis? Well, number two, looking into the statistical assumptions of the test from the family of general linear models that were investigated by more researchers. So we start from a broad literature search using online database Scopus, and you can see our searching terms. It's a combination of two word lists, and initially we were able to find 174 papers. So using Prisma, here show you a Prisma flow chart. You can see finally we got 77 research papers, which were peer-reviewed journal articles, and using quantitative research method and focusing on the EFL or ESL's process. So this, all of the 77 research were coded using a self-designed coding scheme. This table is just part of our coding scheme, but you can tell from the title, we define the codes and the descriptive features and some principal statistical assumptions. This is our research question 2, well, this one is for research question 1. So here are the findings from this table. We can see the numbers of papers using the related methods. So we found that t-test was the most widely used one, followed by correlation and some non-parametric analysis. And also, starting actually from multiple regression analysis to down to t-test, this group of tests actually are the members of general linear models. And from this pie chart, we can tell from t-test, the blue one, to the orange one, regression analysis, they actually composed over half of all the tests applied in mod research, which means actually general linear models are the dominant method used in more research. That's for research question 1. And question 2 about the assumption investigation. This table just an example for the normality assumptions. As you can see, we categorize all the research based on their target language scales, and we count the frequency, and we can see here it's quite low, only around 20%. The findings for research question 1, let me repeat again. Question 1, so the statistical techniques within the domain of general linear model account for the majority of more research. And among the tests within the GLM domain, t-test and ANOVA are the top 2 tests used in more research. Well, for the statistical assumptions, we found that even though they are the basic conditions to draw reliable statistic inferences in GLM applications, but researchers rarely look into this aspect, so these assumptions were generally overlooked. And like the former parts, like we indicate a wide application of t-test and ANOVA. This actually indicates a broader range of univariate analysis. This analysis may be useful. They could be useful, but they overlook the multivariate nature of the investigated phenomenon. Here we are talking about the context of more research, right? So by saying multivariate nature, I mean we all know with the usage of advanced technologies or devices, actually this application makes the learning process into a more complex process for research, right? So there are multiple factors that could affect the learning outcome. For example, the presentation mode of your material and the devices you used, and some traditional factors like the gender or the language learners, their language learning proficiency. So if you just use a single t-test, that means a univariate analysis here, that means it is possible that the results, the positive findings or results you gained could be caused by other factors instead of the one that you are investigating. And another problem for univariate analysis, here taking t-test as an example, is its dichotomous interpretation of the difference as significant or non-significant, because it can only supply limited information and is considered as crude and uninformative. For example, actually, this interpretation cannot tell the reader like how much effect was gained from the investigated factor or variables, especially when the researchers fail to supply the results with the report of effect size, which is the value to show the practical significance of your investigated factor or the magnitude of the effect of your investigated variable or factors. So we encourage the application of more advanced multivariate analysis, for example, regression. It is considered as a both conceptually and statistically suitable statistical technique. By looking into more consideration at the same time in your research, we believe it is very helpful to explore the multivariate nature of the research in mobile-assisted language learning. Well, for the assumptions part, we encourage researchers to investigate the related assumptions of the usage of certain parametric statistical methods. Otherwise, your findings or your results might not be very reliable. But some researchers might argue, like the robustness of ANOVA and the t-test, they are very robust to counter the violations of several assumptions. But actually, this robustness is only valid under certain circumstances. Here, give you an example. T-test is robust against the normality violations when the homogeneity of variance, which is another assumptions for t-test, is satisfied under equal or similar sample size designs. So as we can see, actually, this to maintain the robustness of t-test or ANOVA or other parametric statistical methods, you need to prepare your data under certain complex circumstances. So we suggest that you should always investigate and report the result of your investigations on the related assumptions. If you find a violation, you can choose to turn to the alternative non-parametric test or choose to change or transform your data a little bit, but be cautious about that, or choose to delete the outliers in your data. And finally, I want to conclude my presentation by repeating these implications again. Please stay cautious to the application and interpretation of t-test and report effect size is a value, statistical value, to indicate the practical significance of your investigation, and always investigate and make clear report of the related assumptions. And the final one, I think this one is quite practical. So while you are designing your experiments, please use a similar, design your the sample size of your experiment in a similar or equal manner, because it is related to the robustness of the test you used, especially for parametric test. And here we supply an equation. So you can use this equation we adopted from Hare's book. You can use this equation to check whether the differences between your the groups of in your sample size, whether this difference could affect your results, the robustness of your test. And that is my presentation. Thank you for your attention. Here are the references. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much, Ho Zohan, for your presentation. Okay, now we go to the last presenters, last but not the least, Lim Hui, with the title, A Scientometric Analysis of Publics on Computer-Assisted Language Learning, or CALL.
Can you see my screen?
Okay,
Yeah.
so you have 10 minutes to present your presentation. Time is yours.
So far, he and I did a research on a cytometric analysis of applications on computer-assisted language learning. Computer-assisted language learning includes many types of technologies, such as blogs, emails, wikis, WhatsApp, video conferencing, podcasts, and so on. We conducted this study, the aim of this study was to conduct a cytometric review of applications on computer-assisted language learning from past to present. First, we searched for applications using Scopus. We conducted 2 rounds of data search in Scopus on 3rd July 2020 and obtained descriptive statistics of the database. For the first round, we included 4 core journals, and for the second round, we included 7 non-core journals. For the second round, we limited the search results to language, reading, listening, writing, speaking, grammar, and vocabulary. Here's the search code for the core journals, and this is the search code for specific aspects of language learning for non-core journals. For the specific aspects of language learning for non-core journals, we just replace the highlighted yellow part with specific aspects of language learning. We found 2,284 articles from the 4 core journals and 1,413 articles from the non-core journals. For the non-core journals, there were 31 articles related to language, 384 articles related to reading, 59 articles related to listening, 317 articles related to writing, 69 articles on speaking, 44 articles on grammar, and 95 articles on vocabulary. We found that the number of publications on computer-assisted language learning has increased exponentially from 1977 to 2020. There were close to 0 publications on computer-assisted language learning in 1977, but there were more than 200 publications on computer-assisted language learning in 2019. These are the top 3 authors, countries, and universities. It's no surprise that United States of America, United Kingdom, and Taiwan have the 3 most highest number of publications because they were also the largest countries, one of the largest countries. Next, we exported the data from Scopus to Sitespace. The data were converted from RIS format to Web of Science format, and the conversion rate is very high at 99%. Sitespace identified major research areas in computer-assisted language learning. The more cohesive research areas, the foci of the more cohesive research areas, and the more and less beneficial technologies for language learning. We found 27 major research clusters. The smaller the cluster number, the larger the size of the cluster. The clusters were advanced learner, cell phone, other site, empirical link, extramural digital context, interaction pattern, mobile-assisted language learning, listening activities, data-informed language learning, teaching grammar, learning outcome, reading comprehension, non-native speaker interaction, English language teaching, multiple learner error, investigating application, and electronic portfolio. The largest 7 clusters were also the most cohesive 7 clusters. Advanced learner focused specifically on synchronous computer-mediated communication or negotiated learning. Cell phone focused on multimedia. Other side focused on telecollaboration or email exchanges. Empirical link focused on blogs. Extramural digital context focused on digital games. Interaction pattern focused on wikis. And mobile-assisted language learning focused on podcasts. We also found that some technologies are more beneficial for language learning. The more beneficial technologies include synchronous computer-mediated communication or negotiated interaction, multimedia, telecollaboration or email exchange, and digital games. And the less beneficial technologies include blogs, wikis, and podcasts. There were more articles that supported the more beneficial technologies and less articles that supported the advantages of the less beneficial technologies. Our study is not without limitations. We identified 3 main limitations. First, our study did not include unpublished studies. We included only publications from Scopus, and we only included publications from 3 core journals and 11 non-core journals. In conclusion, we found that technology is beneficial for language learning. We also found that synchronous computer-mediated communication or negotiated interaction, multimedia, telecollaboration or email exchanges, digital games are more beneficial than blogs, wikis, and podcasts. Lastly, we wish to acknowledge the funding support for this project from Nanyang Technological University under the Undergraduate Research Experience on Campus Eureka program. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much for the presentation. Wait a minute. Okay, actually we still have 3 more presenters, Ibu Marhama, and Bapak Edi Haryono, and also Bapak Suroto, but it seems that those 3 persons cannot come to, wait a minute. Okay, so it seems that they cannot come to the presentation today, so we will go to the next session, that is question and answer session. If there is a question from the audience and also from the presenters, please feel free to ask some questions. You may raise your hand and ask personally, or you may chat on the chat column. Okay, any question so far? So we have 11 presenters here in this meeting. The first one is Ibu Hesti Wiranota. The title is The International Student Perception Towards Learning Mandarin Using the Tansen Meeting During COVID-19 Outbreak. Unfortunately, the presenter cannot come. And then Ibu Sylvia Delphi, Intensive and Extensive Reading for Online Learning During COVID-19 Pandemic. Ibu Devi Luciana, College Students' Responses in Online Learning During Pandemic as the third presenters. And then Ibu Friska Pakpahan. The title of the presentation is The Challenges of Online Teaching Amid the COVID-19 Pandemic, Vocational High School Teachers View. And then the fifth presenters, Ibu Marhama, Android-Based Educative Game Development as a Learning Media of Economics. Unfortunately, Ibu Marhama cannot come. And then Bapak Edi Haryono. The title of the presentation is Cartography and GIS Literacy Skills in Reading and Making Digital Maps for Geography Education Students in FKIP Lampung University. Unfortunately, we cannot come to. And then we have Ibu Novita Eka Kristiana with the title of the presentation is Students' Response on the Utilization of Google Classroom for Online Class in University of Muhammadiyah Pringsewu. And then Bapak Suroto, who cannot come. The title is Design-Based Learning Media Android Application to Boost Cultural Indigenous Knowledge of Lampung. And then Ibu Ais Nurbanati. The title is The Use of Mobile Device in the School for Learning and Teaching System. And then Ms. Ho Zhou-Han. The title of the presentation is A Comprehensive Review of the Methodological Quality in MAL Study. And then the last one, Lim Hoi from Singapore. With the title of the presentation is a scientometric analysis of publication on computer-assisted language learning. So we have 11 presenters here. If once again, I'm asking you if you have question for the presenters or another presenters, please feel free to ask the question personally here or chat on the column chat. No question? No question? So actually, I found the last two presenter is interesting. The comprehensive review of the methodological quality in MAL study and also the scientometric analysis of publication on computer-assisted language learning. Usually, I read the publication is only about the MAL study itself, but not really, never read about the comprehensive review and also the scientometric analysis. So it seems like it's interesting. Are you going to publish this one in some journal, not here? If yes, if it is published, please let me know. I want to read the full version of this one. Okay, so there is no question. I think we are at the end of our session. I'm gonna remind you once again that at 3:30, we're going to have another two keynote speakers who are going to present their presentation. So please join the link in the at 3:30 in Indonesian Western Time. We also will give you the link for the attendance list and also the link for the certificate for those who haven't filled in the link. The link, yeah. Untuk mempertegas kembali, silakan Bapak Ibu bisa join ke dalam panel session yang akan diadakan jam 15.30. Kita masih punya dua keynote speaker lagi, Dr. Hisam dan juga Profesor Habil Andrea Bensik. So, Bapak Ibu juga dapat mengisi attendance list dan juga certificate untuk kami data Bapak Ibu beneran hadir atau tidak. Okay, thank you so much for your attendance and also your participation in this Zoom meeting. See you when I see you. Goodbye, everyone. So I leave. Okay, bye. Bye.
Thank you.
Okay, you're welcome. Okay, I leave the meeting.
Bye.
Mbak Ais, papernya bagus. Nanti dilanjutin lagi ya.
Siap Pak Rizal.
Ya, ya sudah.
Bye. See you.
Di mana Pak? Halo Pak
Ya,
Rizal.
Bu, sudah bagus ya. Nanti bisa dilanjutkan lagi.
Ya, terima kasih.
ID-nya
Sorry.
Pak.
Oke.
Oh, link Zoom-nya sama Ibu. Jadi tetap pakai yang pagi seperti pleno tadi pagi.
Sama linknya Pak. Ya.
Sama Bu. Ya. Kita mulai jam 15:15.
Yang tadi pagi ya Pak ya, linknya?
Iya,
Pagi.
yang tadi pagi.
Baik Pak.
Iya. Iya Ibu.
Terima kasih.
Assalamualaikum.
Salam.
you.